are live. We're not live. Well, we're
live
recording.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Let's record a podcast. Hey, everybody. My name is Jake.
I'm Alex.
I'm
Ryan.
And Ryan's here, too. Thank you for taking initiative. Usually, I'm just like, say your name. Like, wiggle my hand at you.
I'm the guy.
Joel did that too last week.
Did he? Oh, Joel jumped on it?
He was like just in it. He was like ready to be a part of it.
Okay.
He also didn't laugh at me when I did the intro, which was nice. But yeah, welcome to Replay Cafe's Talk Core podcast. This is Uncut Games. And as you heard, we're here with Ryan.
Ryan Kaul, to be specific.
Ryan Kaul.
Specific. New Meddle Repairs.
Meddle Repairs.
Yeah.
Ryan is the man behind our beautiful, is it sparkle paint? How do I refer to it on the Dreamcast?
I would say like a metallic.
It's a beautiful metallic paint job on the Dreamcast. All the library there. He's taken our Xbox in, and then I think he gave it a Viking funeral or something like that.
It'll be back. Better than ever. But
it's going to be back like RoboCop came back, where it's just a face grafted onto a single.
I mean, essentially, you're not wrong.
No. What is going to... Does it have any original parts besides the outside?
So the shell will be the same. Parts of the disk drive and the power supply and the fan. That's about it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the whole Xbox.
Yeah. Right.
If it turns on and plays Doom 3, one day I'll be happy.
It will be the box of the old Xbox. Yeah. So
that's like, what is it? 3/4 of the Xbox is just the box.
Yeah.
If you do the letters.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, speaking of Xbox, on the way in, I noticed you have an Xbox 360. Is it called a duffel bag or messenger bag?
Yeah, I'd say a messenger bag.
That's so cool.
Yeah, my partner Chelsea rescued this, I believe, from a thrift store.
That was like the carrying case.
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
360.
Is that what the actual purpose of that is?
Not to carry 360s around.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I love especially the spiral design on it, which I think was ditched within the first year of that.
Yeah. So when they launched, this was the art.
Yeah.
For all their boxes and whatnot, and it's just
I like those boxes.
360 was not meant to be transferred ever.
No.
That's crazy because I think I move mine so often. It is covered in dings. It was the console because you could system link them, right? And that was common. We take it to people's houses, so that would actually happen. I don't think the other systems of that era had that going on, but
I'd say all the launch 360s at this point aren't even meant to be looked at, let alone moved.
If you come into our space, there is a launch 360 in our space.
Wild.
I know. Working at GamePwn, where you do some work also, I learned all the specifications of the S and the what's the other one? I can't. There's 100 different Xbox 360s.
So on the outside, there's 3 revisions.
Okay.
You have just your launch, launch style, and then you have the S, which was the redesign, I think, in 2010. Mm-hmm. And then right when the Xbox One came out, they said, hey, let's make another one. And then they had the Xbox 360E.
Yeah, it was the E. I was going to say E, but I wasn't sure.
So, but as far as the insides, I believe there's 6 motherboard revisions on the first system because of all the red ring of death. Because once they got the feedback, they're like, well, we got to redesign this chipset because it's overheating, from a manufacturing standpoint.
How much do you know about the 360 launch? Because I remember the broadcast the G4 did. I remember watching the countdown because it would be the first next gen console.
So it's kind of crazy because when I was 19 was right about the tail end of PS2.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you mean what tail end of when
PS2 was wrapping up
to go into PS3?
Yeah,
because they stopped making right 2013, right?
Yeah. So 360 came out in November of 2005, I believe. Mm-hmm. And feel free to fact check. To fact check the whole podcast, but
no. I think you're absolutely right. I forgot it was November.
So first, the one period in my life where I got out of gaming was the tail end of PS2, leading into 360, and my friend had a 360 in 2006. Mm-hmm. So I missed the whole first year of the Xbox 360 launch. I got into it. He had a modded 360.
He modded it within a year?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And he's showing it off to me, and I'm like, man, I want to be a part of this. And literally a modded 360 is what got me back into gaming, if you can believe it or not.
What was the mod?
You could just play burned games.
Okay.
And that was right at the beginning of Live was really blowing up. And
Live was so fucking cool.
Gears of War 1. Mm-hmm. That was a whole new generation. And this was right before that November the PS3 came out. So like there was really like 360 was where it was at. So
getting you back into gaming, like, were you modding consoles before then? Or because it gets I guess we should say what you do. Like, you are you're up in the guts of every console.
So
that a lot of people in Southeast Michigan probably have touched.
Yeah, like honestly, if you go from a numbers point, there's probably 3 good places that I know of to get your system repaired in Michigan.
What are they?
Me, Reboot Repair,
okay,
and this place called Toy Box.
Gotcha.
They are the only places that I know of that specialize in game systems. Now you could take whatever you want to some iFixit or let me swap your iPhone screen, and they could try to fix your HDMI, and maybe 1 out of 2 they get right. But I've seen work that have come back from them, and like I would not recommend them to anyone. But to expand on that, I started my own thing right when it really took off exponentially, like right when COVID hit, because I was laid off. I had all that time. I was told I couldn't work.
Yo, what were you doing?
So I was a CNC machinist.
Okay.
And like programmer, metalworking. We would make like custom tooling for like the big 3. So
were you like in a warehouse like in the city?
Well, I was in Fraser.
Okay.
So, but it was this, I guess it was a shop, you know, probably about the size that you guys have out in the cafe. But yeah, I mean, like I was with them for 3 years, and that was something that was kind of crazy that I just kind of replied to a Craigslist ad, and they hired me on the spot.
Nice.
No experience, you know.
Oh wait, no experience?
No
doing
CNC machining and
that
programming.
sounds hard.
I have the ability to pick up some stuff. I don't know.
Obviously, dude. What?
I mean, they started. No, obviously, they didn't just like throw me on a machine day one. Like I was in the back, like deburring parts, like taking off the edges and like checking prints and making sure everything was done right and whatnot. And eventually worked my way up to being able to write code and whatnot. So,
shit.
All in the span of 3 years. So
then, okay. So I guess part of that you can't do from home, but you could do code, right?
Yeah, but like,
do they just shut everything down?
So with you can write code, but like it's going to go into a job that needs to be manufactured.
Okay.
So if they have a hold on all that, you know, and like that's
nothing.
That's the beauty with CNC is like it's all nice in the numbers, but in practical, like once you're cutting metal with sharp tools and you have tool wear and chip feed, and you kind of have to do like what's called a dry run and.
Gotcha. It's an in-person thing.
Prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of translates to some of your 3D printing stuff then.
Yeah. So G-code, which is how like the main alphabet, I guess you could say for CNC, is also in a lot of FDM printers. Some of the same codes that I would do to like touch off the height.
Right.
So the machine knew where the physical spacing was. Is literally the same code on a 3D printer if you were to do it manually.
Okay. And then so I was just like, I spaced out to think about how our sticker printer does that also.
Yeah.
It's like the most baffling thing in the world to me that it can do that. But so you get laid off.
Yes.
And then what happens? Like what are the steps that start New Metal?
So I was 3 months into it. In like, so like it started
like July or something.
So like, I like to say COVID started in March.
Yeah.
At least as far as the United States is considered.
Yeah.
I decided in January 1st of 2020, I want to do this thing, but you know, I had my spare time minus sleeping from a 60-hour job to do that. So now I have all this time. I already had a logo. I had an Instagram made. I knew a little bit. I worked on a couple Game Boys, a couple Super Nintendos, but then like now all of a sudden the world tells me, hey, you have all day for the foreseeable future to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I just doubled down, and like every waking minute that I had was tearing stuff apart, learning new things, you know, buying more gear.
Gotcha. So you like, okay, would you go out and just buy Genesis, buy Dreamcast, bring them home, take them apart, put them back together?
I think I was kind of a little bit past that point. It was kind of like I had bought up a lot. I want to say about in February, because I was like kind of counting on my tax money.
Gotcha.
But like I went and spent $1,500 on probably 120 systems.
Whoa. So most of those are probably busted, by the way, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But like it seemed like a deal that was too good to pass up. This lady who I had met through a mutual friend used to own a flea market. She told me she had 3 locations.
Oh shit.
Her she had to be like late 60s, early 70s, and she was like, we can't do this anymore. We have all of our stuff in storage. We had to close down all of our locations. My husband is a cancer patient. We can't afford to pay the lot fee on this storage unit. So like we need to start selling it.
Okay.
So, we wheeled and dealed and like, 40 Super Nintendos for $750 is like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. If you know what you're doing.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a
yes.
insane.
Yes. So that day in February is kind of like that's my homework.
Okay.
And then March is like, well, here's your time. So it was off to the races at that point.
That's synchronistic. That's just very, very.
I don't know how it worked, but it did.
It's just, I think it's when you just start doing things, everything else clears itself out of the way.
Yeah.
You answered the call to action.
Yeah. Or you invented one. Like once you bought the systems, everyone was like, all right, fucking clear it up. Okay.
I think there is an ability to not predict, but to I don't want to say manifest, but you saw the opportunity, you seized on it, but you also knew that there was a demand for this product.
Yeah.
And that comes from being a fan yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That kind of ties into something. It was like 2 or 3 months ago or whatever when stuff started to turn around for us where Alex's girlfriend said something like, Alex, I can't believe you actually manifested this thing. And I kind of laughed and I'm like, well, if you do one thing every day for 2 years, eventually it might start to work. Like, it's basically that.
Yeah.
So, but from there, how did you start getting the business going?
So, like everyone who starts their own little business or hobby or however you want to call it, it's like the first thing you do is you lean on your friends a little bit. And, being at the time 33 years old, having all my friends into games. Yeah. I just reached out and like, anybody has anything broken that they want to sell, like maybe you're just trying to get out and you just have this, in your drawer or, if you want something fixed, and at that point I was still like very hesitant on charging people money.
Well, because what if it doesn't work?
Exactly.
There's a little bit of hesitation. I understand that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I reached out to a lot of friends and like, honestly, I kind of hate to plug Facebook, but it's like
Facebook.
It's a necessary evil.
Yep.
I feel, but
I think about it all the time.
One of the things that really got me on the map was Marketplace. Because I had all those systems, I had essentially 40 different versions of Game Boy, 40 NESs, and 40 Super Nintendos. I'd fix one, throw it up on Marketplace. By that time, I already had cards made. So anybody who bought anything from me, they got a card.
Were you shipping or were they picking up from your place?
All local.
Okay.
So that's the kind of beauty.
I can't believe we didn't cross paths with you because at that time I was all over
you were
Marketplace.
buying all the retro stuff.
Yeah. So that's kind of the beauty that I'm really happy about the niche that I've carved out because I know modders from Twitter. I know a guy in Florida. I know a guy, I think he's in Kentucky. Like they're out there. But as far as like Michigan goes, like I'm kind of like, it's like a badge of honor that I can sustain a steady business locally.
What's going on? Explain. I mean, like, it's the same thing for us where it's like, why are we the only ones, or if not the only ones that seem to be doing it the way we're doing it?
Something in the water, maybe? I don't know.
But it seems like a huge gaming state. Like it seems to be like no, this is gonna sound rude, but no like self-sufficiency. Like we can do this. Yeah. Let's just do it.
I really think there's, given I think the climate has a lot to do with it, like the hard winters and stuff. Like people are inside.
Well, I think that's what makes everyone here like pretty into gaming in general, right?
Yes.
Like that's the
So like, but like I really, especially like 3-4 years ago, I never thought of there was like this is the authority in like Midwest or at least Michigan scene as far as gaming goes. Everyone's just kind of got like their bits and spurts spread across Michigan, but there's there's no like this is the authority here.
Right. It's very atomized, which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
I think Michigan struggled with like having any kind of scene in any creative way for must have been decades. Like I can't explain it. And if it's like super small, it's like, oh, this is Ann Arbor and they don't talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
Like that.
They're
like,
their own tight knit community.
Right. Which is just bizarre. And not like you always hear about other states and like, wow, I would love to live in fucking Pennsylvania, a massive state, but apparently they all hang out. I don't get how they do that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I guess we have a somewhat nomadic culture here.
Yeah. I think you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised that the guy from the toy box didn't just like buy up all your shit and mark it up.
Yeah, so of all the people, he's the one guy that I haven't really talked with.
Okay.
I mean, there's a few places around here. Like I feel like everyone kind of has at least seen me in their store once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But even beyond that, like I have a pretty good relationship with most of the mom and pop people, at least in my area. Maybe not so much more southern of Detroit, but at least like northern, like East Point, Roseville, Fraser, those areas. Everybody kind of knows me one way or the other, or they're also doing business with me. So.
Did you find that those people knew each other, like in a beyond more of just like a cursory, like I'm aware of them?
Some choose to,
Yeah.
and some choose not to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds right.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, if I bring him up, like I know that guy, he's in here all the time.
Okay.
Let's not talk about him.
I feel like some people are hyper competitive in business
Absolutely.
when it doesn't need to be that way. Like the fact that there can be so many gaming shops.
Yes.
And so many gaming shops that are doing so much business that they're employing your services.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Like there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's a big enough pie for everybody.
yeah. But people like, I don't know, they get these competitive edges.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first started out, like I wanted to make sure that I had the best prices.
Right.
But like the main reason,
But like you said, you didn't know if it was going to work at first. and,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
It's not all just.
And like, I'll be honest, some of the jobs I took on, it was like I didn't have any experience with said specific item.
Yeah.
But I knew I could cover myself because worst case scenario, I replace the system.
Right.
Oh wait, you bring him back entirely different system. Like, oh look, I fixed it.
Well,
Like,
I wouldn't go that far, but you know.
Your Super Nintendo doesn't work, but this Nintendo is super.
Yeah.
and I'm just giving it to you, and don't tell people I fucked up. Like, that would probably be my business model.
Yeah,
I would cheat on my homework.
I could see Facebook Marketplace being really good for what you do, and Facebook in general being a way for you to get exposure under your brand. So you're running your LLC, I'm assuming, not as a hobby.
I'd like to say we're still expanding.
Okay.
Into that. As far as the ones and zeros go.
Sure. Okay.
I let's just say to summarize, I still have some T's to cross.
The IRS
and lowercase
is
J's to dot.
listening
So.
to our podcast. That's funny. Well, I would just always tell everyone to just open up an LLC right away. And it's
absolutely.
just super easy. And then you can get your FEIN, and then you can get a line of credit from your business, and then you can keep track of all of your business spending, and then it makes taxes
Our hot tip
a lot easier.
is get a business line of credit.
Yeah, okay.
That's the best because it's like
The business credit line is like 3 or 4 times what you would normally get under a personal credit line.
Okay, yeah.
So it makes for expanding purposes like super easy.
Absolutely.
Plus, if you're pretty confident, there's a 12-month 0 APR on most like starter credit cards.
Yeah.
So like you could spend $20,000 interest free, which is as good as cash if you can pay it off in 12 months.
oh, which we didn't.
Well,
so.
you know, if a pandemic strikes, then you might be fucked.
Yeah.
So. But in your case, actually, you could grow your business through a pandemic. So maybe you're future proof.
Yeah, exactly. Well, somehow.
I feel like you are guaranteed future proof. Like your path into the future is guaranteed by like the obsolescence of the past. As things continue to break down, and they will.
Yeah.
Your workload only grows.
In 10 years, you'll be fixing PS5s because those will be retro consoles.
That's what they're saying.
Well, yeah, fuck. Because 360s aren't retro consoles yet, are they?
Depends on who you talk to.
I know. A lot of kids actually show up here and they want to play 360, which has been very interesting to me. Like they want to play like specifically Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Yeah, okay.
On
Yeah, dude.
360,
The infamous tester game.
Bro, they actually want that specific one.
it looks
crazy.
good on 360 compared to like when I look at some of those PlayStation 2 games.
Because it came out on PS2 also, and it looks like garbage on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks like, I always say this, like they clearly cut corners with that specific game. Or like every console, all right, well, in that case, we're just going to hand draw these things, but in a sloppy way, and that's your loading screen. Oh, fuck that game. Fuck that game.
Well, that's the one thing with the jump from PS2 to 360 is the majority of PlayStation 2 games, even though I think you could technically do 1080i out of a PS2.
I forgot about 1080i.
Most PS2 games are 480 interlaced.
Right.
So you're getting, compared to a 360, probably like half the resolution and half the frames.
Yeah.
Which is why you get some great indie horror on itch.
Exactly.
For the PS1 and PS2 style, but not so much for the 360.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of expanding, I know you're under an avalanche right now of work, right?
Needless to say.
Where are you working out of? Like, not your address, but like, are you guys going to do like a physical shop? Like, how do you see the future?
It's something that I have put a lot of thought into. And, you know, I know a lot of people who do have physical locations. And the main thing that they say that the benefit is trade-ins and walk-ins. Well, I have business and I have plenty of inventory.
Oh, so you want to keep people out?
I mean,
well, not actually, but one more person walking in and be like, "Hey, can you fix this?" would just be like one too many.
Needless to say, like the main thing I really need right now is someone who can show initiative that is willing to learn and work under me. And I think that if I were to just pick up everything and open a location, it would double my problems.
Yeah.
And like it would double my expenses, at least double my expenses.
Right.
So I mean, I'd love to do it, and just like everyone who makes an indie game on Steam wants to see their game on a store shelf,
right?
It's the same thing. Like I want to have like you know, this beacon of light,
sure,
shining in the darkness for people to see and bring their systems.
Wouldn't it be cool for your logo, the skull, to like rotate in the
neon,
darkness?
Man, trust me, man. I close my eyes and there it is. But like I've seen so many people scale too fast. And then be gone in 6 months or sometimes 3 months.
Well, it's like, I guess now that you put it that way, it's like proverbially, it's like moving out of your parents' house.
Yes.
Right? Like, yeah, you could do that and you could be doing it and have your own apartment, but then, oops, you spent too much money because you thought Costco was a great place to shop, but accidentally you spent $300 and all you have is 8 pounds of meat. Like,
and Mountain Dew, right?
And Mountain Dew. Like, it's like that. It's dumb.
Or you could go to Whole Foods and spend $7 on 4 croissants. Tell you, that's a fucking racket.
Jesus Christ.
Those delicious croissants.
What did you do? Were you just hungry?
Listen, that was just where we were. They had croissants, and I looked at it and I said, this is not worth it.
But you bought it.
Well, so here's what they do. They price anchor you, right?
Yeah.
So now an uncooked frozen pizza is $10. And I'm like, well,
but you got to have pizza.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, I could get
hot and ready for $5.
They do the cooking and everything.
Right. So wait,
and then
price
I go
anchoring
over
is like making something cheap expensive, so you go for the thing that is still stupid but not so
Yeah.
stupid.
This is the way they sell TVs at like Target and stuff. They show you like the big boys at the ridiculous price, so that you're like, oh, well, this one's only $200,
right?
But it's still like marked up way too much.
Is $200 not a bad price for a TV? That's my price for a TV.
I mean, it depends on the feature set, right?
I guess at the store they all look so nice.
Yeah,
except for the ones that have too many. What's that shit called? It's like when they turn off the motion blur.
Smooth motion.
Oh,
There's
God,
nothing
yeah.
uglier than watching like the layers of editing stripped from a film to make it look like a stage play.
It looks like it's in 30 or 60 frames, and it's like
horrendous.
soap opera.
So you know why all TVs are set to do that, right?
No. Why the fuck would they do that?
Sports. Live sports.
Because that's what they're showing in the store?
Most people, and like they sell more TVs during the Super Bowl than any time of the year. Because got to get a new TV to see the big game, right?
No,
I feel like that was
my parents' house.
I feel like that was like a 90s trope from like sitcoms where they would like
The
go
new
to
TV.
ABC warehouse and like
Yeah.
rent it for a day, like they're tricking them.
That is funny.
It sounds like something Al Bundy would do.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
So we usually ask people like, what is your earliest gaming memory?
Yeah, take us back.
Oh
now.
man, I got one for you.
Okay.
So this could be gaming. This could be why my brain is the way that it is. Who knows? But
You were hit in the head with a controller?
well, not a controller. So now, mind you, I remember the video games. I don't remember the story. I like vaguely remember the story that led to the video games.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of tell it as how it was told to me. Back in the early '90s, they had the bicycles, like the track bikes, and on the back there'd be like a little chair for like infants or toddlers, right? Like they don't do these anymore because they're clearly dangerous.
You're talking about a stationary bike, right?
Yeah.
They put a baby on it?
Well, no, not like a pedal bike to work out or like.
Oh, it's a bicycle.
Yeah, yeah. So like imagine like a track, like a Tour de France bike.
No, I can
with
see
the
it now.
big tires, and then like imagine on the end, like you have your normal seat for the rider,
Right.
and then like plaster a baby seat on the end of it.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
So like my parents were taking me out for a bike ride when I was 2 or 3 because that's what you do, I guess. And my dad was coming down an incline, and the bike tipped over. And out flies Ryan, and he hits his head on the cement. Bro. So I ended up being like, my parents were like scared to death. Like, oh my God, we killed the kid. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
So I ended up being hospitalized. I believe I was 3 years old. Everything, turned out okay. But like the nurse was like, we're gonna keep him overnight just to make sure, whatever.
Shit.
And my dad's there like trying to find something for me to do because I'm just like up, whatever. And so I was 3, so this is 1990. And my dad says to the nurse, it's like, well, what about this Nintendo? And like, she's like, wow, that's kind of for older kids, or like that's more for adults or whatever. And, it was on the old TV cart like we had in elementary school. They just rolled it in, and
cool.
I played Super Mario Brothers in the hospital, and that was my first gaming experience.
That's the best first gaming experience we've had on the podcast.
Well... And like I said, the rest was history.
What happened next? To give me the run through.
As far as
just like you're like, what console did you get? You go okay, so you go home and you say, give me more of that, or I'm jumping off another bike.
Yeah, I guess. Like I remember the next time period, because it's all blur recollecting. But I was given an NES at some point, probably Christmas, and I had Mario, obviously, like everybody. Duck Hunt.
Were you guys an every console family?
Or Nintendo loyal?
I would say, so like, I pretty much knew about like the heavy hitters as far as like the more mainstream stuff. So it seemed like every Christmas I'd get a new system. So it was NES, then Super, and then I got a Model 2 Genesis, and then a Sega CD. And then
you got a Sega CD?
Yeah, dude. And I had 2 games for it.
Yeah. What was one, Sonic?
I had Sewer Shark, which was a pack-in.
Sweet.
And then I had I think it was this game called Total Eclipse. It was like an isometric shooter. But like most of the games that I had owned for Sega CD were just like rentals from Family Video or whatever.
Okay, right.
So
that's even better that Family Video had Sega CD games.
I mean, back in the day, yeah.
That's just a sentence full of anachronisms. Like, shit.
So N64, Dreamcast, all the way through through PlayStation, PlayStation 2, both Xbox and PlayStation.
So I never had an Xbox growing up.
Okay.
No Xbox, no Sega Saturn. I saw Sega Saturn games. I never knew anyone who owned one. I never knew anyone who owned a TurboGrafx.
No 3DO?
No, like I always saw them in because I loved to go to like Barnes and Noble when I was younger and like just like sit in the magazine aisle and like grab every single game magazine and thumb through because no internet. But like I knew what they were, but I never saw it in a store. I never had a friend who had one.
No.
So like these things were like
we're
fantasy.
failed systems. So like.
Yeah, it's in North America for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was like no supply, even if you could put it in a magazine. No.
So are you an only child?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Might explain some things.
It explains your introduction being a hospitalization.
Yes.
Right?
Everyone else is like, my big brother
Yeah,
showed
exactly.
me GTM and I snuck out.
GTA. Here's the first game I ever played, Grand Theft Auto.
We were talking about that recently. A lot of kids come in here also, and they're all playing Grand Theft Auto. And even when I was working at Game Pawn, like moms would come in, and she'd look and be like, "What do you want?" And the kid who was like, definitely no older than 6 would be Grand Theft Auto, and then they'd sell him 5, or something like that. And I remember like that was like the game, like forbidden, like you could not have that game.
Yeah. Well, so I'm thinking like when you guys are around that age, it's probably when San Andreas came out, right?
Yeah, with hot coffee.
So there you go.
That was the big deal.
And that was like a mainstream news story. So all the parents of that generation were like,
Yeah. Well, then all those people who are slightly older now have like children.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I remember going to my friend's house because my mom wouldn't let me have this. And I'm going to be a cool mom and you're going to play Grand Theft Auto.
You can steal cars and do whatever.
Stealing cars is like in video games, nothing. I think it is shooting a hooker that I'm still like, I don't know. Yeah. I would let a kid play GTA. I think that it is for them purely fiction. Like there's no way to go out on the playground and be like, all right, we're playing GTA and you're the hooker. Pop, pop. Because no one wants to be the hooker, so no one will play with you. It's not like playing The Matrix where you can run around and be like, "Wow!" like jumping around.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's different. So for this reason, I think it's safe.
Yeah, there's probably like an age where like it's definitely fiction.
Yeah.
I almost feel like younger is better than like once they get like 12.
Yeah. And then someone you calling everybody a fucking hooker.
Yeah.
Like before then.
You're recreating the scenes with your friends and like
It's actually important to get them on early so they can grow out of it. It's why like French people let children drink wine or something.
Get out of their system.
Yeah. So you don't go to college and like my first day of college, a girl took a shit on the sidewalk next to me. Like next to me as we were crossing the street. You know the part where like there's the bump so that the blind people know where the street ends? She just like kind of crouched down and took a shit as I was crossing into frat row. And I was like, oh boy, here comes college.
This is a good PSA. Let your kids drink wine so that
they don't shit next to Jake on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk.
She's like in a dress and shit.
Now she did that to help the blind people. I'm just kind of.
It was just like I was just for like I'm standing on the bumpy end of the sidewalk where they let.
Okay.
So for blind people that's like what the sidewalk is bumpy, right?
Yeah.
And that's where she put the poop. And I remember thinking, well, now it's going to be extra hard to clean.
Yes,
because it's in these bits. She
ingrained.
You're just gonna throw water at it and flush it into the sewer.
Let nature take care of it.
Yeah. It's gonna rain. Someone else is gonna puke on that later, and it's the enzymes are gonna dissolve it.
Yeah,
big
they
deal.
cancel each other out, right?
Yeah. That was a very frightening night for me. The cops watched all this stuff happen next to me, and I was like, "You're not gonna stop this."
I feel bad for like any kind of big frat campus security because you gotta just imagine the stories that they have.
Well, yeah, I think you just never know if one of those dudes is gonna swing at you because he thinks he's fucking cool.
Yeah,
and that's. Do you guys remember the show? I think it was on like G4 also, like video game TV, right? Like Campus PD.
Okay,
it was like cops just for no.
I have no.
It was just cops for busting up parties.
It's vaguely ringing a bell because that would be what would be on G4.
It would be the death throes of G4. Like, all right, well now it's cops, old Star Trek, and Campus PD. No shows. So
I remember around Thanksgiving they were trying to bring G4 back.
That's been talked about. Alex, do you have any details?
It's coming back.
It's hard
details.
Okay. Is it on Twitch?
I don't.
Because why would you put it on cable?
I don't know where it's supposed to be. I just saw that they were bringing it back, the idea of it
as a concept,
at least as a concept. I
like
don't know what other
idea.
channel you would put it on. I mean, I remember only being able to watch it at my grandma's because she had direct
only
TV
grandmas have good cable packages, by the way. You gotta go
to
my grandparents' house to watch Fuse or something like that.
Yeah,
she also took in our Genesis when we outgrew it, so that was the fun of going to grandma's house. Was you played Genesis, and then once you were told you can't play any more games, you turn on G4, and then you lay down and
watch
the day bed or whatever it was.
What's the day bed?
I was like, it's not like a full bed, at least not in my memory.
Oh, it's
it wasn't
not a
like
TV
a mattress.
show. I thought it was like a term for a programming block. So we'd lay down and watch the day bed.
The day bed.
That's actually before my time. All right, so did you have out of all these consoles, like? What caused you to get out of gaming?
So I'd like to say I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
As far as like maturity goes. at the age of 19, I got my first job, my first car, my first girlfriend.
What was the name of the car?
It was a Mercury Cougar. I believe it was a 91. It was black.
You didn't give it like a cool name.
No.
Mercury Cougar's a cool name.
Cougar's
so your
cool
car
enough.
what do you want to call it? Like Sancho? I don't know, man. It's fine.
Betsy Ross.
So yeah, that was like basically becoming an adult.
Okay.
Was what got me out of gaming.
You guys are all losers playing your PlayStation 2. Hey, check out this Xbox 360 I modded. I'm on my way.
Essentially, yeah, right.
Did you ever have a period where you got out of gaming? Because I know that I did, and I talk about it a lot because it's so funny to me now.
No, not really. I've always been pretty obsessed.
There were no cars, no girls. Could
Even
steer
when
you
there
away.
were cars and girls, it was still.
It sounds like a 1950s song. Like.
I was. This is how obsessed I was. My brother and I shared the family computer, right? And he would put like system locks on it, and I
just keep you off.
I wouldn't be able to get on it because he thought he was doing me some kind of a favor, and then
what?
And then I wouldn't complain to my mom until I was like desperately trying to get on. But I would stay up till 4 a.m. playing Tibia, and then like hide under the desk.
That's an RTS you showed me, right?
It was an MMO.
That's it, yeah.
It is a beautiful game. Everybody knows
Tibia,
it's a beautiful game.
Like a bone?
Tibia. It was made by some German company, CIP Soft, and it was where I spent a lot of my social experience. But so I would hide under the desk when mom woke up 4 a.m. because I wasn't supposed to be asleep. And like if she looked in my room and saw I wasn't there, she would just come back down and like find me.
Ferris Bueller style?
They just put the snore machine on. Here we go. And then like at one point after my brother had moved out, I think he and I had been maybe
no more system lock, right?
Splitting. Well, yeah, but then we didn't have internet anymore because this is the times of dial-up.
Wait, he took it with him?
He didn't take it with him, but like my mom wasn't going to pay for it or something. So then I ended up, I think, paying agreeing to pay part of the bill or something. We had net zero.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like it came on a disc, which seems so weird.
Is net zero like Netscape?
They used to have them on the kiosks in the front of the supermarket. Yeah.
Was the concept with the disc? I'm only just.
It was the installer, like so you could have it
because you can't download the exe because it would take too long. Essentially,
well, you couldn't get on the internet.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
So you had to have the disc.
You'd have to dial in.
You'd have to dial in.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So then, I remember getting kicked off games because my mom would answer the phone and I would like have a panic attack. And then at one point, the neighbors had good enough Wi-Fi to get to the side of my garage. So I was setting up a big cardboard box outside on the side of my house, connecting to their Wi-Fi and playing this game outside.
On a PC?
On my laptop.
Which could get Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I had a laptop card, whatever they were called, a Wi-Fi card, I guess. Just
like how this thing has it's a sound card?
That's the Firewire. It's essentially the same thing, but yeah.
You guys are awesome.
I was
super
a little addict.
The leaps and bounds you would go to play a game.
I don't know. Man.
I would walk. I think it's about maybe a mile and a half, carrying my tube TV and my PlayStation to go play at my brother's
house. In like a wagon,
house.
right?
No. I would carry it.
You'd carry a tube TV?
I carried it. It was like a 20-incher, 21-incher.
Oh, it's like the small ones we got. It's not like...
Yeah, it wasn't so small. I mean, those things are fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And I would walk like all the way down Cooley Lake Road to get to my brother's when he was living at my now old house. I'd play in his backyard if he wasn't home, connect to his Wi-Fi.
That's what I call commitment.
It's a commitment to the game.
Do you have any similar like war stories? This is so intense.
so like I said,
he says he's obsessed.
I didn't like I said I didn't get my license until I was 19. So so, all of my game purchases before 19 were done on bicycle. The real craziest thing I distance or insurmountable odds that I did was actually for anime.
Sweet. What'd you do?
So I rode. No, I didn't. I couldn't ride my bike because it was winter.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up like going to the Walmart during like a blizzard because I wanted the box set of Neon Genesis Evangelion on DVD.
Okay.
Which I still own and will refuse to sell.
Cool.
And will probably have it in my will that I'm buried with. By the way.
Sweet.
But I walked. I want to say it was like between 3 and 4 miles.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
that's like an hour to 40 minutes
in like a foot of snow.
In was that, and that's to and from, so it's technically 6 miles.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Where did you get it?
Well, just at Walmart.
Just a Walmart?
Yeah, Walmart. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Because they would like back in like the like mid thousands, they would do some pretty good deals on DVDs, especially like on release week.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can't really trust Walmart to keep anime in stock.
No.
So you kind of had to go that week, or you'd never see it again.
I feel like FYE would be the only spot that would have something like that.
That's where my girlfriend got all the Miyazaki movies for I think $2 each when they went out of business. It's the only reason we have those. They're always like 30 bucks.
And they're out of print, I believe.
They're out of print.
Yeah.
It's
so
worth it.
cherish them.
I know. I got my Princess Mononoke for 50 cents at a record store recently, and I told the lady at the desk, I'm like, this goes for like at least $7. And then the old lady who ran the store shot her like a death glare for pricing it at 50 cents or something like that. Like, you can't get them.
Yeah.
They're super nice.
You told her this after you paid, right?
Yo, as I was paying, I was like, oh,
he is 2 quarters, you dumb bitch.
I'm like, shit, you could charge. I mean, what would that be? Like 14 times what I was paying or something like that? She said something nervously like, we passed the savings on to you. Like that. I was like, damn, well, shit.
Oh my goodness.
So question, this is a tangential thing, and I don't think we've ever talked about it really on the podcast. Your introduction to anime. Because you had a Dragon Ball tattoo.
Yes. Yeah, probably the most
I thought
obvious.
that was a Gyarados. I'm awful.
A lot of people do.
Okay.
Clearly the Dragon Ball Dragon.
My Pokemon tattoo is right here for those listening.
Sweet. It's a highly detailed haunter.
I was
Sweet.
going Gengar, but I couldn't place the eyes.
The ghost Pokemon are the coolest. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, Haunter's my favorite.
It goes
Haunter
with
is
your color scheme, too.
Yeah. I mean,
I like Ghastly. I just thought it was a simple, cool design.
if there's one thing I'm guilty of, I try to be on brand. So
It's incredibly cohesive. But we can anything behind the blue and pink, or just like because we do it here too. It's just gaming.
I don't know. Like, I kind of really got into the idea of it is the synth cyberpunk aesthetic. And also, like, a lot of people have been throwing around the term bisexual lighting.
Yeah, that's what I call it here.
Yeah, so, like, I like the aesthetic. I'm a pretty open-minded person if you want to even extend it out that route.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a cool color scheme, I guess.
I just had a brain thought. It's called the brain thought now.
Okay. Go ahead, Alex.
Coughing just brown, ghastly?
He was like more of a sludge, right?
Coughing? What did he look? Which one's the sludge one, right?
There's muck.
Yeah, I'm thinking of
Oh
muck.
no, coughing is like the orb ball, right?
Whatever one looks the most like ghastly.
I thought coughing
is
purple. He's not brown.
But he shoots out brown.
We all shoot out brown, you losers.
I don't know.
No, I find
Pull up your Pokédex and
I
let's
just-
figure this out.
I
just
find
tried
this to be a similar yet different design. He's like a texture.
Okay, what's ghastly look like?
Well, you're gonna tell me it's the same, but I'm gonna tell you it's different.
Ghastly is like a black orb with a face and purple smoke.
I'm sure they're different.
This is Ghastly.
Okay,
He feels
it was
it's a
just my
different-
brain.
I mean, brothers from a different mother, right?
Well, like someone tasks you with drawing 150 different monsters, and if one of them doesn't look the same, like got him.
This one's different.
Was Pokemon your introduction to anime, or was it before then?
Man, I want to say Saturday morning cartoons on WB in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was some local syndicated Michigan channel on over the air that had original Dragon Ball.
On Kids WB? I feel like the Cartoon Network snatched up those.
All I can think of is Animaniacs
Yeah.
and Recess.
Recess, yeah.
I'm trying to think like it was like probably like UPN or something like that.
I remember UPN. I used to watch the Star Trek that came out in 2001 or something on that
Enterprise,
show.
right?
Enterprise. I used to watch Enterprise with my dad, 9:30 or something on UPN.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. And then one day it went away. It's bullshit.
Yeah, so like I think the main thing was like early Dragon Ball, and then like, you know, when Dragon Ball Z started, you know, blowing up on Toonami in North America.
Right.
Even though, you know, all like for all intents and purposes, that show was finished in Japan by the time it even got sent here.
Yep. Dragon Ball GT was probably done by the time it got here.
Exactly. And then like just going to the video store and seeing like the OVAs that they had on VHS.
That's actually because we do our anime tapes here. It's because I remember the OVAs that I could not. I remember Golden Boy.
Okay, yeah.
If you ever saw Golden Boy,
I don't think so.
it was like. First of all, it's on YouTube. It's super funny and worth watching, but it's definitely like a titty anime.
Or, yeah,
I remember
yeah.
the tapes and being like, "Holy shit!"
So at my advanced age, I like
Go ahead.
the reason I now have made up in my mind the reason I come to anime is I want to be told a story that is not necessarily be able to be told in film. So I either want hypersexual or I'm gonna be honest, or hyper violence. Like I want or I want animation or ideas that like the budget is just not there to do.
Yeah.
I don't have much of an ear towards current anime culture, but I do fall back on a lot of the hand-drawn stuff from the 80s and the early 90s.
A lot of, because I feel like the current anime, I can just see. It's like you can see the creases or whatever. What's the term? The stitching.
Yeah,
I can see where it was not done by hand, and the beautiful hand painted backgrounds. They're just gone.
Exactly.
And it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy because like how I digest games is clearly more digital, but like how I digest like film and anime, I prefer to be more analog as possible.
Right.
I'm a big fan of movies shot on film as opposed to like digital video. So
I mean, I think sometimes it works. It's stuff like we talk about. Like I think actually that was probably shot on film. I would say The Matrix. I'm like, it's a digital movie.
Yeah.
But now I realize that never mind, that was shot on film.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember the last anime I watched. I was trying to look it up. I wanted to say it was like called Siren Song.
Siren Song.
Maybe I'm way the fuck off.
Do you have a top 5 animes, real quick? Top 3.
Well, I mean, my go-tos are, and I don't know if this makes me unique or not, but obviously Akira,
Okay.
Evangelion.
Did you ever read Akira?
No, I'm told I should.
If you'd ever like to borrow the books, I'd like to give them to as many people as possible because I find the movie to be like a true like abortion.
Yes, yeah, no, yeah, that's what I've been told.
Okay.
So Akira, Evangelion, Dragon Ball Z is up there.
Do you still like Z? Have you rewatched it? I found it hard to rewatch.
So I rewatched Kai, which like a lot of people did not like, but like I actually liked that it was kind of more abridged.
Right. Well, there's so much to abridge.
Yeah,
right?
you know what I'm saying? So like I had recently rewatched Kai, I want to say probably less than 3 years ago. And I sat through it all, so.
That's a lot. Then you must, okay, and then is that still over Dragon Ball, the original series?
Probably. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I go back and forth. Like, so Z is like my teenage years in my head. Like the angst and all that is like kind of cooked in to watching that, but like when I watch Dragon Ball, that's more of like I'm viewing it from an artistic standpoint because I didn't have that many thoughts to really formulate when I watched that the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, also it's so much more appealing when you're just like, yeah, fucking hit him, and then Dragon Ball's a lot. I just think it's more fun.
Yeah,
like it's like
adventure.
It's a fun adventure with an arc that goes,
Yeah.
What about abridged?
We've been talking about that a lot. Yeah, the abridged series on YouTube. Did you ever?
I can't say that I've seen it.
Oh my god, it's the funniest
thing
you could watch for it. Freezer's back,
bro. When you want any homework, watching the abridged Dragon Ball is worth your time.
Okay, yeah.
I think
it's all the best moments, but with a comedic take, basically.
Yeah. All the voices have been redone.
How much did they shrink it down to?
The good bits.
Okay. So is it like a couple episodes, or like did they do the whole season?
It might be like 40 or 50 episodes.
There's a lot.
But the whole series becomes. But
Yeah.
and I think the episodes are only like 8 minutes.
They're very quick.
They're pretty quick.
It's quick enough that I could actually watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think we had a friend, and that's why I bring it up, because we had a summer right before I think college, or maybe right after we got back from college, where we had watched the abridged, and my friend who had never seen real Dragon Ball Z, and he didn't bother to tell us that when we showed him these videos with the abridged, we just thought it was so funny. Like, okay, well now you have to watch it. So we all went to Best Buy and bought all the DVDs, and it was only when I caught myself like waking up, like hours into this like binge where the plot hadn't progressed that I started to sour on Z. Where I was like, oh, why am I even at this fucking house? And I'd call my girlfriend and leave. Like,
get me out of here.
Get me out of here. It was like a real like clawing at the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do recommend it.
I found the anime.
What was it?
It's called Song of the Sea.
Oh, hang on. I've heard of Song of the Sea.
It's pretty good.
It's not The Old Man in the Sea, right? Song of the Sea. How did you watch it? Because you always seem like abstinent on anime.
I think I have a weird like stigma where I'm like, oh, it's anime.
This isn't an anime. This is just an animated movie.
Oh, is it not anime?
No, the director was named Tom Moore. It's an Irish movie. A French movie.
Hold on.
The plot is an Irish youth discovers that his mute sister is a Selkie who must find her voice and free supernatural creatures from the spell of a Celtic goddess. They're probably Celtic.
So is it?
Why does it make it not anime?
If it's not an anime, it probably will be one soon.
Probably. You'll get the adaptation and it will like blow up the records in Japan.
This thing in my memory is an anime. And it's pretty good.
Just animated, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
But I think that proves my point. You somehow missed the anime train. Did you eject?
I just don't
I feel like gaming culture and anime culture are like so intertwined.
Nowadays.
But even going back to like 99, I think. Anytime with Toonami and gaming and skateboarding were like this to me. Like
I think when I should have been watching Toonami stuff, I was watching Friends and Frasier.
Oh, jeez.
That's so funny because it explains you pretty deep.
That's...
Yeah, it does.
I don't know anything about
what to do with that tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Did you ever watch Frasier or Friends?
Not willingly.
No, me neither. I think the only
part of the Thursday night lineup, guys.
Was that on ABC's?
No, it was NBC.
NBC's.
Yeah. Thursday from 8 until 10, you had Friends, you had Frasier. I think Scrubs was in there for a while.
Not at the same time. Oh, maybe early 2000s.
And then at 10 o'clock, ER started.
And did you stick around for ER?
Wasn't George Clooney in ER?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
For a surprisingly long time. When I went to rewatch it, because I had only seen the later seasons.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to be off by season 2, and like I don't think he leaves until like season 5 or 6.
And now that was all made after he did From Dusk Till Dawn too, which was
right. I thought he was a movie star at that point. I thought when people told me he was on ER,
that's why
I have
they
no
kept
concept.
alluding to him like leaving. Like like it was in the storyline. Like he was given outs over and over again because I think they didn't know if he was going to stay.
maybe he just wanted a nice steady gig for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, well, okay. It's more fun to go do movies
time.
if you can go do. I don't know. I think you got to do the boring things so you can enjoy the fun thing.
If you want to talk about ER, let me tell you, this show.
I don't have a thing to say about
this
ER.
This show deals way too much with AIDS. Like the 90s were obsessed with AIDS.
Oh, absolutely.
So obsessed.
We had
biggest obsessed.
I remember in elementary school they were like every year they'd show us the AIDS video, you know, to like indoctrinate the kids.
Nobody's even talking about AIDS anymore.
Yeah, no. Like I remember like I don't know if it was like a teacher, or like a guidance counselor. They're like, be careful sticking your finger in the coin dispensers for payphones because people were putting needles laced with AIDS on them. Like it's like, what is this crazy like fear
propaganda
that you've put in my brain that like I don't want to like touch a Coke machine because I might get stabbed with a needle.
But it was real that like I mean I wouldn't blame a teacher for watching the news and watching like medical professionals get on the screen. Some of which you may know and have seen recently say like, I don't know, I think it could be just transmissible through these kinds of things. Some guy you know recently, that guy sucks. Whatever.
I don't know what you're referring. You're talking about Fauci?
Yeah, he was like a big early proponent of like being like, I don't know, maybe it could be transmissible through the air, like AIDS and stuff. He played a big part of it, and there's clips of him on NBC I recently watched. I'm like, you motherfucker.
That's funny.
And I knew there was stuff people had against him, and I was like, okay, whatever, grandpa, but like, I watched, I was like, holy shit.
John Mulaney has that joke about quicksand, and I feel like AIDS is the quicksand.
That's a good, 100%.
Like everybody, you could get AIDS just anywhere all the time, just hanging out. It was almost
from a toilet seat, right?
I feel like there's people who, if you met them, they're like an encyclopedia of like the AIDS thing. And it's been memory hold for us. It's probably going to be the same way that COVID is in probably like 20 years for our kids where they're like, oh yeah, there's this big deal. But guess what? It's no big deal.
anything could
But
happen.
it was a fucking big deal.
Now I have a question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then we're talking about, childhood, whatever, 90s stuff.
Pandemic fears and
AIDS
AIDS.
and whatnot. Now, did you guys, either of you, were you part of the DARE program?
No, it was discontinued by the time I hit.
I think in 5th grade the cop showed up and we got the shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was in, I think it was either 5th or 6th grade, we had the DARE program, and like on top of that, there was one day where they came in and they're like, we're gonna show you how to check for fingerprints or to do
On what?
on a film. So they literally went through and had all the kids take this fingerprinting kit home and bring it back the next day and turn it into the teacher. Yeah.
So the children fingerprinted themselves?
And then the cops collected it.
Huh.
And I think this was also around the time where a lot of kids would go missing and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah,
maybe
milk carton kids.
Yeah, so maybe there's
Good
just
band.
some record out there with everybody's fingerprints that they collected from the DARE program.
I felt like this came out of nowhere.
No,
very
Ryan,
funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool little hey.
I like the DARE logo. I'd wear a DARE
Oh
shirt.
yeah.
I'd put a replay DARE parody together.
Yeah.
I have different feelings on the marketing of DARE versus the surveillance nature of DARE.
Yeah.
The idea that we're just we're gonna put you in the system. You haven't done anything wrong.
We're just gonna
go ahead and get these
preemptive
fingy
strike.
prints.
I think that's what that's called.
Now the real
For your
trick
safety.
was
For your safety.
He wasn't a cop. He just needed your fingerprints for some crimes he was going to commit.
Yeah. You go home and put your fingerprints. It's all 5 different fingerprints. You're like, whoa.
He was making gloves.
Is this one guy or 5 guys?
When I looked them up, they're all 9 years old.
Book them. All right. I think we're hitting the end here.
The end. The computer's even telling me so.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's trying to die. And my brother's calling. All right, Ryan. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah,
coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are we looking up? We're going to get the Sega Saturn going probably in the next couple months with you.
Yeah, so I just saw a tweet today because the guy who manufactures them is the boards have been done. He's been waiting to ship them.
Oh, you showed me a direct message you sent him, right?
Yeah, I guess he tweeted today that he's just waiting on the ribbons.
Okay.
Which are specific, and they're still being manufactured. And he said they should have shipped last week. So when it happens, you'll be the first to know.
Very cool. I believe you.
Sega. This episode is not brought to you by SpaghettiOs. SpaghettiOs.